championships. Arnold Palmer, like Bobby Jones before him, would collect his majors in a few short and exciting seasons. Jack Nicklaus would space his 20 majors over a period from 1959 through 1986. Tom Watson carved out his 8 majors during Jack's reign and were highlighted by classic duels between the two superstars, most of which Tom won. In 1987, after a significant number of pro victories, which preceded a full swing overhaul orchestrated by David Ledbetter in the mid-80s, Nick Faldo began to establish himself as the next great major championship player in the game by winning his first major, the British Open at Muirfield. 10 years later, he shows every sign of adding to his collection of 6 major championship victories. He will likely play in his 11th Ryder Cup in September, where he has, along with Seve and Bernhard, been the soul and anchor of the European squad. He has 39 pro wins, one for every birthday he's celebrated. And how did Nick come to be influenced to try the game? By watching Jack Nicklaus play on television in the heart of Jack's prime years. It was the first of an almost unbroken string of perfect decisions and flawless shots by the great Nick Faldo.
Welcome to Golf Talk Live. I'm Peter Kessler. This fellow Faldo next to me, well, he's just the best player in the world. Good to see you, buddy.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
You know, when you were a kid, I understand that you used to take apart your bicycle, put it back together again to see how the pieces fit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, you know, that the more things change, the more they stay the same, because you've done that with everything in your life, particularly your golf game.
Yeah, well, I've got the scars on my head to prove it about my bicycle. I was riding home from the village one day and the front wheel fell off. I went straight over the top, so yeah. So sometimes my tinkering doesn't always work, yeah.
But when it came to your golf game, the front wheel had a little less air than you would have liked.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah, it's taken me a long time back now. Yeah, I played a good few years in Europe, and then, but I knew there was a little voice saying in the back of your head that it wasn't quite right, and then you finally reach ahead, and I met David in South Africa, end of '84, and he was the first guy. I talked to a few guys. He was the first guy when I said, look, I need some help, and he's helped me on a few bits. Said, well, if you do this, it's going to cure this, this, and this, as opposed to, other people saying you've got 6 faults and this sort of thing. So I thought about it, and then by the time I got to Muirfield Village in '85, I was playing terrible, and I said, right, throw the book at me, and he just about did, but I wasn't fully prepared for the, he was whispering it was going to take 2 years. Now I'm saying, that's not going to take that long.
And of course
it just about near as damn it did, yes.
And take you back again, Jack Nicklaus has always said that believing in yourself is maybe, if you have the game, the key to winning major championships.
Well, yeah, that was the hardest bit during the rebuild, because I had, I call it the black days, because everything went wrong. I went from leading Europe in '83, and by the time I get through, 85, '86, I mean, I was totally being written off. I was losing contracts. Everything was going wrong, and it's very difficult to keep going back to a tournament next week thinking, yeah, it's going to be better this week, and then sure enough I'll be 2 over after 4 or 2, this sort of thing, and and it was just a head down. And fortunately now, and I guess I learned it was a big learning process. I mean, if anybody wanted to change their game, I could advise them on how to do it, and that probably wouldn't be the way now.
Now, you didn't let me take you all the way back, because the second part of that statement I was going to make was that Jack, of course, had said believing yourself is the key, and when you were a kid, your mom used to tell you that you were going to be real successful, that you were going to be a world beater. And
that was ballet, though.
Okay, well, she was right about that, because we've got some pictures of you in a tutu that we will show later.
That's later.
But how important do you think, ultimately, that turned out to be, to have that deep-seated confidence that you can only get when you're a kid from your family? How that carried over to the success that you've ultimately had?
Well, I guess all through my school sports, yeah, I was an individual. If I played a team sport and we lost, I'd come back, and that's when I'd throw my beautifully made bike against the wall. I used to come back and throwing these. They knew when I'd lost and what have you, and I used to play in goal at, in football, so I used to blame it on them when I used to let them in. You see, they let them run through. Yeah, and then but I was an individual looking for a sport, and I did swimming, I did cycling, other bits and pieces, but they're all individual sports, and I guess that was sort of you've got to have the enjoyment of playing an individual sport, and then you obviously get the confidence from that.
You know, in the late 20s and early 30s, when Bobby Jones was at his peak and then subsequently retired, they used to show, newsreels before the motion picture. And even people who had never played golf, and at that time there were only 3 million players in the world, at that time, people who didn't play golf, when they watched Jones swing, just loved it because of the aesthetic beauty of the thing. Yeah. And I know that when you were 14 and watching, I think, your first Masters in '71 and watching Jack on television, was it the aesthetic beauty of his swing that got you excited?
No, it was the trees.
The fact that the ball didn't go in them?
It was the trees and the fairways I liked best, and it was the funny golfers in funny colours wandering around, and Jack was one of them, I guess. No, I obviously twigged it. I did actually honestly think, God, this looks good. Right. It looked beautiful. And you were right. But I wanted it. I mean, as I see, my two goals were my two rules. I wanted to be my own boss, and I wanted an outdoor job. So that was, and then I saw this beautiful outdoor life. I thought, that looks nice. And then the golf thing, I didn't know a lot about it, and so I said to my mum the next day, I said, I'd like to try golf. So she made me have my hair cut, or she cut it herself. Took me to the local club, and I booked 6 lessons, and I wanted to do them right then. I said, well, I'm here. It's my first lesson now. He said, we had to wait for the next day, and then I had 6 lessons with the assistant, Chris Arnold, and that was it. That's how I got started.
Now, you've put in an incredible amount of work at the game that you love. And in the 70s, the British, well, not only the 70s, but from the 70s, the British press, as tough as they are, didn't treat you in the manner that you would have expected and liked, and that was a tough go. And over the years, you've wondered, I'm guessing, how the people in Great Britain really felt. And I wondered that if last year, just the week of the British Open, when you went to the Eagles concert at Wembley Stadium, and they announced your name, and 60,000 people cheered, not for the song that they had just played, but for the fact that the best player in the world was in the audience. Well, did that complete the satisfaction?
Well, I don't know about the complete. Yeah, I think, unfortunately, I've got a special relationship with the British media, and it annoys me that for years and years and years they've always got to portray a negative side, and there's always that's the British media. It's got to be, there's 2 sides to a story, so let's go for the negative side. And so I've suffered over that, but the public have always been good. They've always been there. They've always supported me. You don't, and so it was a kind of and the British Open was incredible. I mean, since I've left and come and played more in Britain. In America, rather, the press liked me, and the public liked me even more. So it was obviously a good move. But the Eagles concert was fun, for the guys to say, we got the Masters champion here. So I just stood up and waved, and the sort of my side of Wembley sort of started to cheer, and then the other side sort of twigged, and they started to cheer. And Glenn Fry's going, do you mind, excuse me, just sit down, we have a show to finish, thank you very much, so it was good fun.
60,000 cheers has got to be great to hear.
And the next week at Lytham was very special. I've never had a reception like that, so I hope, touch wood, I can keep getting that, because I certainly enjoyed that reception that week.
And of course it would have been bigger had you had your putting stroke in the last round, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, thanks.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, lots more of Nick Faldo, and we will address the '96 Masters in just a moment.
Don't wait another minute. Call toll-free 1-888-GO-MYRTLE for your free Myrtle Beach Golf Vacation Planner.
Wish you were sending more putts than money down the drain? Then your best bet is the amazing tour-proven TearDrop putter. Why? First, the unique roll face design eliminates skidding and allows you to control the roll for the purist in golf. Second, the perfectly balanced head stays absolutely square to the ball during the putting stroke. Third, the aerofin design guards against stubbing, especially on those tough fringe lines. You want proof? Ask Hawaiian Open winner Brett Ogle.
I couldn't have done it without TearDrop.
Save strokes and money with the TearDrop putter. Call the number on your screen to have the TearDrop in your bag for 3 easy payments of $39.95. Order right now and we'll throw in a video of Brett Ogle's top 10 TearDrop putting tips and this quality crafted leather head cover, a $40 value that's an absolute gimme if you call now. The TearDrop putter. Now you can finally control the roll.
Call this toll-free number to order your TearDrop putter for only 3 easy payments of $39.95 plus shipping and handling, or send check or money order for the full amount plus shipping and handling to the address shown. Call now.
You're watching the Golf Channel.
Nick Faldo won the 1996 Masters with one of the great performances of his storied career. For 54 holes, this championship belonged to Greg Norman as he built a 6-shot lead. But Nick Faldo responded on Sunday's final round with a 67, the best score of the weekend. As Norman struggled with his swing and distance control, Faldo was precise and cool under pressure, as evidenced by one of the great long irons in Masters history. This 2-iron from a side hill downhill lie on the 13th hole. He added this final birdie on 18 before embracing the always gracious Greg Norman. Norman and Faldo, the 2 best players in the world for the past 10 years, finished second and first in this latest installment in their classic major matchups.
I got another question that starts with a Jack Nicklaus story. In '72, when he was getting ready to play the final round at Pebble Beach, which of course he won at the U.S. Open, they said to him, "Are you going to throw a snake at your opponent today?" in reference to Trevino throwing one at him before the playoff the year before for the U.S. Open, which Lee won. And Jack said, "No, the only thing I'm going to throw at them is my game." When you made the late birdie on the Saturday in the 3rd round, knowing that you would then be head-to-head with Greg, which is exactly what you wanted, was your sense, I want to be with him so I can throw my game at him?
Well, I wanted to just see what was going on. Yeah, I thought it was the best place to see it is right then. And if I was going to make a move or have any impact, then it would, you know, being right there rather than be a group ahead or whatever, would make, because you can sense what's going on more, obviously, can't you? You can get the feeling of what's happening with your own game and with his game, and you know, and the way it all unfolded was, you know, exactly what I was trying to do.
When he got fidgety with his grip early, when he took longer over each shot, missed a few of the early greens, which is critical because it's so hard to get it up and down, particularly under that pressure, you seem to be able to, when he was doing that, even go into a higher gear in what I'm thinking is one of the perfect rounds of golf ever played.
Well, yeah, that was exactly it. I mean, you know, I was totally to myself. You know, I was just concentrating on me. I mean, there was obviously an awful lot going on with Greg, and there was a different change in the atmosphere at Augusta, obviously, you know. But I was just really playing each shot one at a time and just building on my own game. And obviously, I could see what was happening to him. But it wasn't until you know, the big impact was obviously 12. You know, when all of a sudden, bang, now I'm leading it by 2. That was when it really, that's obviously when it hit me, and I thought, wow, yeah, now it's mine to lose. Now I've got to play my way in, and that was from then on. That was, you know, that was a pretty pressure-packed moment.
And of course, you went 3 under the last 6 holes, and I'm thinking that as you approached your second shot on 13, it now was a different kind of pressure because it was your tournament to lose.
Yeah.
As we take a look at the events of you selecting your club and hitting the shot, tell me a little bit about the thought process at the time.
I threw the 3-wood out. I carried this 5-wood all week to play this sort of shot, and I only used it on the 2nd hole of the last day, and I didn't use it the whole week. And then I put it down there on that, and you can't see on TV, but the ball is probably a good 9, 10 inches above your feet.
And downhill as well.
Yeah,
right?
a little downhill. So it was a really good lie. The ball was sitting up nice, and then I put this 5-wood down. The face was going, you know, sort of going roadies left, creek right, roadies left. I thought, what? Put that back. And I went back to the bag, and I said to Fanny, well, I want to go for it. I feel good. I don't want to lay up. And you know, 228. I had something like 206 or something. All I was worried about was hitting the 2-iron, was because the green was so hard. If I nail it, I'll go over long left, and that would be a hell of a chip shot from up there. It'd be all downhill, downhill, and downhill. So, you know, but I kept saying to myself, come on, I feel good. And I just focused right in that back left-hand corner, and you know, hit a great shot.
Was it the same swing thoughts and thoughts over the golf ball that you would normally have?
Oh yeah, exactly. That's you know, my keys are, you know, once I get going and get into the swing of a tournament, you know, if you're swinging well and you've got swing thoughts that are working, well, that's what I feel gets me through the pressure, that I'm able to switch off from the pressure and go straight back to, okay, whatever I'm working on, you know, rotate, set, all this sort of thing. And I can just say those things to myself, which keeps me, you know, keeps it all back to me rather than, wow, what the hell's going on here?
We can think between us of a lot of great shots like that over the course of your career. I think of the iron that you hit into 15 in Muirfield in the last round when you had let the lead get away and you needed to regroup, and of course did. But it seemed to me that this was not only the greatest shot of the year, but one of the greatest shots in major championship history. Is it true for you that it was? Well, I think that with pressure, I think my wedge I played at the Ryder Cup at the last hole, that was a real, that one took me to my limit. Something about the Ryder Cup, my knees were just about, you know, I was on just about overload there. So but that one obviously for me is very special because it's you know, because of the way things happened, you know, the whole, you know, pyramid of the pressure, 12, and then straight on to 13, then you've got an absolute major decision to make at 13, right? It all happened, it wasn't like, oh, can I have a breather for 2 holes and, you know, settle down. Everything all was happening at once there. So, and that hole there's no margin of error. You could hit a great shot and it just doesn't quite make it, or you just push it half a degree in the creek, pull it, or as I said, even nail it and go long, you'd be, you know, you wouldn't even want it to go there, so. We ran into Greg the other day, and I just want you to hear his reaction about your win at the 96 Masters. Mr. Norman.
He did what he had to do. Silently, he did what he had to do. And that's the sad part about, you know, the 1996 Masters, because I don't think the credit's gone where the credit is due. I'm not sure if it was that 2-iron or the next shot that we're going to show you that was really the best shot that you hit in 1996. Can we go ahead and see that one? This could be trouble. Oh, yeah. Yeah. This was ridiculously difficult. I mean, I didn't realize what I had to do. And they want me to just loft but luckily I was using the Faldo wedge, so I think that made the big difference. And it was, did I go, and that was second attempt, I got it in, you see. Okay. Because it was so funny, they said, well, I just wanted to lob it in, but you know, how do you judge it, something that's 6 foot high and you can't see any depth or anything? So I looked at the scene and I could see it was at the same angle. I thought, oh, perfect, I'll pitch it up there, and it'll just come straight. Because I hit it, it was paper. It just kept going, this ball just went sailing through everything. But yeah, that was, yeah, I'm glad I got that over and done with in one hit, because it was like, knock it in, thank you, good night, and I was off the show. So if you had missed that, everybody would have said that the championship win at the Masters was a fluke. I might be still with it. I'll be giving 43, 44. Yeah. We're going to take a very short break, and we will be right back with Nick Faldo. Don't go away.
There's no bond more sacred than between us and our herd. Gateway computers feature the Intel Pentium chip. Call 1-800-GATEWAY and we'll...
When you need
real towing power, you need the Toyota T100 from Pinehurst Toyota. As a matter of fact, Pinehurst Toyota has a full line of vehicles designed to fit your needs, from practical to recreational, all built with Toyota's high standards of quality and with a price that leaves plenty of room for fun. Just remember, when you're in the market for a new Toyota truck or car, Pinehurst Toyota will be any deal, anytime, anywhere. Period.
There are lots of sunglasses out there, but most are just illusions. These don't give you the clear vision you get from Ray-Ban sunglasses. These don't give you 100% UV protection. Only one has the quality of Ray-Ban sunglasses, and no others give you Ray-Ban style. Ray-Ban by Bausch & Lomb. Optics, not optical illusions.
Sandhills Optical, eyeglasses in an hour.
You know, I guess it's all about getting into the position where you could have that much pressure on you and see how you respond.
Yeah,
but
exactly. Yeah.
Can you have fun while you're doing it?
Well, yeah, you have to a certain degree. Yeah, it's a weird sort of thing, but you're right. You have to sort of step back and suddenly say, well, hang on a minute. This is why I practice so darn hard to put yourself so your stomach is churning and what have you. And it's, you know, it's fascinating how you can cope with it. Sometimes you are very nervous, but you grind your way through. Other times you feel absolutely fantastic. You know, there's nothing, you know, any sort of sports psychology, it's sort of, it's like you've got to learn your feelings and learn what's right for you and this sort of thing. So, you know, but everyone's different. Every win is different. That's the wonderful thing about golf. You can't put anything on automatic coming down the. Just because you take a lead or whatever, people make all these assumptions, oh, he's going to keep going. But it's just not quite that easy at times.
We're going to go ahead and talk to one of our reviewers. We've got Edward in Pennsylvania who wants to ask you a question. Hello, Edward.
Hi, Nick.
Hi there.
Now that you've won 3 Masters titles and 3 British Opens, has the U.S. Open become your main focus for the upcoming year and years to follow?
Yeah, very much so. You know, I'm playing my schedule and everything, but I think mentally, you know, obviously next week's very important. The Masters are very important for me, but mentally I've been trying to gear myself ready for the U.S. Open. So I'm going to try and make sure my preparation's good, and you know, I'm looking forward to it. It's all I can do.
If we had gone back, say, 10 years in time, after the first British Open win, hard to believe it's going to be 10 years this summer, and 20 years since your first Ryder Cup this fall, we're getting older. People would have said the one that you're most likely to win next would be the Open, because you're thought of as being so incredibly precise and a great iron player and a fellow who can make pars when they're critical, as opposed to shooting 25 under in a birdie barrage fest. Yeah, in theory, yes. It's funny. I ran close straight after, you know, as we know with Curtis in '88. And you know, I've been close in a couple of them, so I've just got to keep plugging away. I mean, I think, yeah, you've got to combine everything. It's not quite as easy as that. You've got to drive well. You've got to drive very well. I think that's probably the key. I mean, but you've got to have all parts of your game. It's got to be there all the time. Any major's the same. It just tests every part. You can't get away. You can't come off a major and say, oh, I won it, but something was off. You know, I wasn't quite on here or quite. That doesn't happen because everything just gets tested. So you got to have every part of your game ready. Let's go ahead and see what Gary in Michigan wants to ask you. Hello, Gary.
Hi, Peter. Hi. I was wondering, do you think the fact that Greg Norman had such a big lead put more pressure on him than yourself? And do you recall any similar experiences you had in the last round of a major?
Not in the last. I agree with that. I think A, leading Augusta is very difficult, and B, yeah, having 6 shots, everybody's pointing, you're making an assumption. It was his to lose, which does makes things so much more difficult. I mean, I've had the odd tournament I've played when you've had big leads and what have you, and going out and trying to get well, I led the British Open, didn't I, at 90 by 5. That was very difficult because you're just not sure how to go out and pace yourself. It's another new experience, and it's very difficult to come out and play, or do I play really aggressive and just keep going for everything, because then you'd really kick yourself if you went for a pin and it took a 7, or do you just keep knocking at safe areas and keep trying to make the putt and then you keep missing them, and so it's difficult to get the blend. It's very, I mean, if you could...
It's so difficult that you still won by 5, even though you were leading by 5.
Well, yeah, but you still got to piece it together. If you know, if you went out and said, well, I'm going to take a really defensive approach, and you play 9 holes in whatever, par or 1 over, and somebody goes whoosh, 5 under for that front 9, well, then you kick yourself, wouldn't you? So it's very difficult to just, it's the pacing of your own game, which is the hard bit.
And it's hard to play sort of defensive golf at Augusta National, isn't it? It rewards you for being aggressive.
Precisely, yeah, you have to play, I call it sort of defensively smart, you know, which is, you've got to be aggressive because you've got to go for the right positions, and the right positions at Augusta are always, you know, below the hole, and the pin's left, and you've got a drop off here, and you know, and so it's testing you. You look at it and think, well, things are going good, so I'll aim 5 feet right at the pin, or maybe not, another 5, and sure enough, by the time you hit it, you hit a good shot, but you're now 20 feet right at the pin, and you think, wow, no, I don't want to be here, because you now got one of these big roller coasters. So that's the tough bit. It's able to say, well, I want to hit this, you know, 15 feet below the hole, little bit tweak left of the pin, and standing up and doing it, because you know your margin of error is, you know, another 2 yards left, and that's it. Off it goes, and it looks like a bad shot.
And playing it safe at Augusta National leads to 5s and 6s, doesn't it?
Precisely, yeah. You've got to be aggressive, but hit it in the right place.
We're going to take a very short break, and we will be right back after this. Don't go away.
Finalist. 1 ball leads in wins.
Titleist, the #1 ball in golf.
Titleist. 1 ball leads in players.
Titleist.
1 ball leads in money.
Titleist.
The choice of the best players in the world, and every player who wants to be their best.
Titleist.
Okay, so who are the 2 new wise guys playing on my turf this morning? Wimp #1 and his no-name chopper got no confidence. Give me a break. And contestant #2. Wait a second, what's he got there?
The TearDrop's roll face produces a natural overspin, a pure roll with far more control.
Tough guy, huh?
TearDrop Golf. Control the roll.
On the next Golf Channel Academy, join instructor Dave Pelz.
If you continually leave your uphill putt short, watch the Golf Channel Academy. We'll show you how to fix it.
All this and more on the next Golf Channel Academy. Premieres Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern.
There was a time when the British Open was the almost exclusive domain of players from Great Britain. Harry Vardon, J.H. Taylor, James Braid, Henry Cotton. Nick Faldo is making a successful effort to reclaim the Open as British property. He's finished in the top 10 on 12 occasions. His first of 3 wins was earned at historic Muirfield in 1987 with a final round of 18 consecutive pars. In 1990, he won his second British Open at the home of golf at St Andrews in Scotland by 5 shots. In 1992, he proved that he could play his best golf at precisely the most critical moments of major championships on his way to his 3rd British Open title, earned again at Muirfield because it was so much fun to win there the first time.
How tough was it at Muirfield the first time on 18 the last day to trust your new golf swing?
Yeah, that was when all the work we've led really went out the window. It was just, it was like on automatic now, and I stood over that thing and belted a 5-iron because it really was a 4-iron, but I just couldn't trust hitting the half shot, so I just stood up and hit that thing. But I remember getting over it, and it was all happening so quickly, and I thought, just take it away slow. That was like my last words to myself, and I got it away, and it was just like, you know, slow motion. You sort of hit the thing, and I remember seeing this thing go out against the grey sky. I thought, cool. You know, I honestly did. I went, cool. And I was unlucky. You see how it bounced, because that thing should have gone forward, you know, but it came and left me like, 40 foot, which I had to 2-putt. So it was, yeah, that was very nerve-wracking. You know, that was a special time, obviously, to win your first major and to play. And it was, you know, the good old cocoon saying, you know, being cocooned. I played that whole back nine. I was in a blur. I mean, out of a yard out of my vision was a blur, really was. I was just totally that was my little world. That was what I was in control of. And, you know, I just kept playing. I played great tee to green. I was putting lousy, so that's why I produced 18 straight pars.
They say Hogan only saw 1 yard ahead of him and didn't notice his wife and friends in the crowd.
Yeah.
When you won in '90 at St. Andrews, I mean, at the home of golf, after a great third-round matchup with Greg, was there any sense of disappointment about the conditions? I mean, it was so unlike St. Andrews weather. It was a glorious sunny day, and you've always been noted for a guy who gets it done, particularly when the conditions aren't so easy and the wind is blowing.
There was still the bounce, the famous St. Andrews bounce, which you had to judge well. You know, when the ball hits the green, there's something about, you know, every golf course, St. Andrews suddenly becomes yards. And if you hit a good shot or bad shot on a normal course, it's 30 feet from the hole. You hit a bad shot at Augusta, it ends up 30 yards from the hole. Just the same blimmin' shot. I don't know, and it's to do with obviously the sides of the greens, the way the ball releases, catches the slopes. And I think that's what I was so pleased of that week, you know, my distance control and controlling that bounce. You watch a lot of shots always release forward 10 yards all the time. And that's what you've got to be able to do at Augusta. I mean, wrong one.
St. Andrews?
St. Andrews. You've got to be able to land it and judge that release. And, you know, so club selection is important, but striking the ball solid for, you know, time after time to keep it in there. Otherwise you suddenly end up with these 30-yard putts. We get a bit wearing.
And 2 years later at Muirfield, when the 4-stroke lead had vanished, you get 4 holes to play, and presumably you said something to yourself like, you better get it together. Yeah. I thought that 3/4, what I thought was a 5-iron, into 15, that sort of a feel shot with a little bit of cut, was up to that point the best shot you'd hit in the championship. You had to be cheering inside.
Well, yeah, that was, as you said, I walked off 14th green, and I just said, well, you better play the best 4 holes of your life now. I honestly did. And then
Sure.
And then that 5-iron was, it was very special because everything was just, it was just a slightly into me left to right wind, but you got that very difficult, there's a hump on that green at 15. So if you've got to aim down that hump and just feed it off and let it sort of bleed off it. But if you go, you know, 2 yards too much that way, then it will obviously go the other way. And I just hit this little knockdown thing, which, you know, which I'd worked on. You know, sometimes I practiced on the Sunday before in an absolute gale. Led and I went out and I played like 5 holes. It was by like 40 miles an hour, but it was just invaluable because I hit I could hit 6-irons like 125 yards. I could hit these little soft 6-irons, and that's what made the week for me. I had the half shots I hit that week was just so good. You know, and that was obviously the ultimate right at the end.
And of course, so is that full-blooded 3-iron to 18. But before we talk about it, let's see what John in New York wants to ask you. Hello, John.
Hi, Nick. How you doing? Big fan.
Good, thank you.
What's the main difference of playing the American courses versus playing the courses in Europe on the tour? And I hope to see you at Westchester. I'll hang up and listen.
You don't hang up too quick. The difference in the courses, well, as I mentioned there about the bounce and what have you, you can run the ball in here. A lot of players or commentators think because it's an American course we can play bump and runs in, but you can't because of the texture of the ground here is different. It's softer. You've always got to be throwing it in there. And in links courses, obviously, you know, I mean, sometimes we play. You have to land the ball 40 yards short of the hole, and sometimes our parkland courses we play in Europe get very similar. I mean, you have to. It's learning to land the ball and that run, and I think. you know, that's one of the things on the tour over here, which, you know, if they would, the simple way to toughen up a golf course now is just dry the greens out. And then all of a sudden, you know, the landing, being able to land the ball, you know, right on the precise spot to get it to release to the hole becomes so important. And unfortunately, Westchester's after the US Open, isn't it, this year, which I ain't going to be. I'm going back to Europe, get ready for the British, I'm afraid.
And of course, what you failed to tell them was the other difference between Europe and the United States is that you eat lots of mashed peas there, which of course is going to be on your menu.
Mushy peas.
Mushy peas?
Mushy peas.
Which is going to be on the menu next week at the Champions Dinner?
Yeah, fish and chips and mushy peas. I thought that would...
Another gourmet meal in a
Another
long line. Yeah, that's great stuff, Nick. We're going to take a short break.
Yeah.
We're back right with the gourmand right after this.
Want to dramatically improve your golf swing and cut your handicap in half? With just 20 minutes a day, the SAM 2000 will improve your overall swing and have you driving off the tee 40 yards further. The top PGA and LPGA professionals use the SAM 2000, and now you too can have the SAM 2000 right at home. One handicapper decreased his handicap by 9 strokes in just 21 days. Many teaching aids on the market focus on different parts of the golf swing, the takeaway, the backswing, or the follow-through. But the SAM 2000 does this and more. Only the SAM 2000 is designed, engineered, tested, and custom-made to give you the perfect golf swing. SAM 2000 owners are seeing amazing results, such as lower scores and handicaps reduced as high as 50%. From beginners to the top pros, the SAM 2000 is designed to dramatically improve your swing. Call today for your free video analysis.
Take strokes off your game, guaranteed.
Jack Nicklaus's personal technique that helps straighten slices.
Take strokes off your game, guaranteed.
Dave Peltz's revolutionary technique that has even the pros putting more accurately.
Take strokes off your game, guaranteed.
Get out of sand without sweat. Greg Norman's Earth Mover secret shows you how, guaranteed. Now take 2, 3, 4, even more strokes off your game with the secrets you'll get in your free issue of Golf Magazine.
Take strokes off your game, guaranteed.
Master teacher Jim McLean's simple secret to longer, straighter tee shots every time. Call now to get your free issue of Golf Magazine, plus receive your free Golf Magazine umbrella. Shoot lower, play better, or you don't pay. That's the Golf Magazine guarantee. Call now for your free no-obligation issue of Golf Magazine. If you decide to subscribe, get 11 more issues, 12 in all, for just $16.97. Plus this Golf Magazine umbrella free with your paid subscription. Call now.
Do you want to find out who was on top and the bottom of the leaderboard? The Golf Channel Leaderboard Report is the most comprehensive, complete recap of all the events. It is the only place on television where you can find all the scores of all the players all the time. The Golf Channel Leaderboard Report. Tune in. Monday in prime time at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, only on the Golf Channel.
When Bobby Jones achieved the Grand Slam in 1930 by winning the Amateur and Open Championships of Great Britain and America, he set the standard for every great player of every generation to come. Ben Hogan won the Masters, the U.S. Open, and British Open in 1953. He declined to enter the PGA Championship for fear that his battered legs couldn't handle the strain of 36 holes a day. Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus in 1960 and 1972, respectively, each won the Masters and the U.S. Open before failing to win the third leg of the Slam, the British Open, each of them finishing but a single shot behind the winner. In 1986, Greg Norman held the 54-hole lead in all 4 majors and would win but one, the British Open, his first major championship victory. Nick Faldo has finished second, third, fourth, and first in consecutive majors in 1988 and 89, and finished ninth, first, third, and first in 89 and 90 in consecutive majors. In 1992, he was fourth, first, and second in the U.S. Open, British Open, and PGA. It's golf's most spectacular and elusive prize, the Grand Slam, the Masters, the U.S. Open, the British Open, the PGA Championship.
Secretly, you think it's doable for you, don't you? Secretly, deep in your heart.
Well, in theory, yes. You've just got to waft it round 16 rounds of golf, haven't you? You know?
It's that simple.
But there's sort of something in between them, and there's, the golf is probably the easy bit. You know, there's an awful lot of tension off the golf course and that sort of thing. No, it's you know, you use up so much mental energy just winning one, and you know, and sometimes it's very difficult to even get yourself back together for a while. You know.
Sounds like a happy problem to me.
Yeah, well, I'd like to get in there again and see if I can get close again.
Now, 90 was so tantalizingly close. Really, you win the Masters, of course, and then at the U.S. Open.
Yeah, they hit the hole at the last hole, and then went and won the British. Yeah, that was obviously as close as I've been.
You know, now Jones and Nicklaus, by people other than them, are thought to have, like you, the secret of the strength of their mind, which allowed them to not only get their game in shape, but to put their head together to win major championships, despite all of the chaos that goes on in between, which you just alluded to. Do you think, though, given the media circus that now follows you and Greg and Tiger wherever you go, that you could figure out a way to withdraw in between, to regroup?
Yeah, I think if you'd have to, and the problem is it's not like you have any experience of the withdrawal. You know, it's not like you get so many chances. It's not like, oh, I've won the Masters again for the 9th time, so I've got another go at the Grand Slam, and how do I, you know, it's like it's all brand new every time you come in, and wow, there is a mad invasion by the media on you. So you just imagine if you got to what you'd do if you did win the first 3 and you were going for the 4th one. God, you'd have to, you know, you'd have to have a few sharp swords, I think, be quite useful.
The venues this year are pretty perfect, though, aren't they? I mean, we know where the Masters is going to be held, and then the U.S. Open is at Congressional, which is a sort of a Faldo course. It's drive it and play and hit the right part of the green. And you, of course, remember Winged Foot from '84 when you played there. And was there ever a course where the iron game was perhaps better suited? There's 4 quadrants on each green, and if you're in the wrong quadrant, it's a 3-putt automatically. And Troon, of course, aside of the British. You know, like your chances given the venues this year?
Well, I've got to feel good about that very much. Yeah, I think if I can keep the game, if you can have the ball on a piece of string, you're going to feel good about any of those.
Let's see if Jerry's going after the Grand Slam. Are you, Jerry?
Yeah, I wish I could, Peter, believe me. I want to congratulate you on a great show.
Thank you.
I'd love to have you guys take some time and show your resume. You're tremendous.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Nick. I think you won the Masters last year. I know Greg played bad, but you put a great round at him, so nobody gives you enough credit. My question basically is, how do you feel about Valderrama? So much Tiger Mania right now, and I think you're probably the only human on earth that really isn't intimidated by him. And, you know, do you think the other guys in the Ryder Cup, you know, will be as intimidated or as everybody else seems to be versus what, as strong as you are? Just touch on that for a bit,
well,
will you?
Yeah, well, match plays, you know, Tiger's, if we all make the Ryder Cup, whatever's going to happen, Tiger's, with his match play record, he's got a, you know, he's got a hell of a start with that. It depends, a lot depends on the draw, how that comes out, who he's going to be playing against, how he's playing, all this sort of thing. But it's 18 holes, and I think most professionals believe that over 18 holes, you know, unfortunately, anything can happen. So you've got to feel positive. You've got to feel good. And it's a tough golf course. Valderrama's is a very good golf course, and you know, it's not, Tiger doesn't have any advantage there at all. So it's a real accuracy golf course. I mean, if they get the rough up, so it's anybody. It's really it's the man on the day.
I'll bet you don't mind, and in fact are probably rather pleased at the media attention being focused on him. You can go about your business personally, you can go about your business on the golf course. Right, you don't mind that so much, do you?
Well, I'm not too, you know, I do my fair share of my media, and that's it. I'm not looking for any more or anything. You know, I just so he's taken a mad, you know, big slice of it. But you know, a lot of times they come to you, and the second question is, what do you think of Tiger? What it is, and then you think, well, hang on a minute. Yeah, he's meant to. I'd say go ask him. Yeah.
Well, when he's in the press room, that's your cue to duck out the door so they can't ask that second question. We're going to take a very short break, and as we go to one, let's take a look at a little Ryder Cup hole-in-one from 1993. Just a 6-iron again?
Yeah, that was a good
6-iron hole-in-ones?
Yeah, that's right.
And 1 7-iron, right?
1 7-iron now, yeah. We're getting. I called that shot. That is the amazing thing.
Hey, secret agent guy. It's Rob. You spies sure have some cool toys. How did you? But check out the Motorola StarTAC Celluphone, the smallest, lightest celluphone in the world. Remarkable. Don't touch that. You're liable to call my mom. That's the smart button for easy one-handed use. Neat? Very neat.
So high-tech, it could only come from Motorola. Motorola, what you never thought possible.
Intimate, charming, aggressive, and challenging. A blend of casual elegance, superb service, and breathtaking recreation. Mission Inn. Towering forests, quiet lakes, and rolling fairways. Only 35 minutes from Orlando, Florida. Call 1-800-874-9053.
What was my score? I had a 94.
On top of being in the Guinness Book of Records.
39 on each side, 78.
AVDP System Woods and Irons are helping all kinds of golfers set their own records.
I broke 100. 86.
How?
82.
Avoir de poids. A unique system that gives each club the easiest swing in golf. And that can help anyone's game.
Hey, even mine.
Hold the one that holds the record. AVDP System Woods and Irons. Only from Goldwin Golf.
Nobody does it better than Power Swain Chevrolet Geo. For customer service, you'll find their friendly staff ready to help you find the car, truck, or van that's right for you, and the deal that's right for you, too. Nobody does it better. But it doesn't stop there. Power Swain takes care of you after the sale with one of the best service and parts departments anywhere. So when it comes to great service for you and your automobile, remember...
Nobody does it better than Power Swain Chevrolet Geo.
Power Swain Chevrolet Geo, 4709 Bragg Boulevard, Fayetteville.
The Insurance Center, a full-service, locally owned and operated independent agency, offers a complete range of insurance and financial products. Over the last 15 years, we have built a reputation in the community for friendly and professional service. The Insurance Center can provide coverage to protect you, your family, and your business. Affordable yet comprehensive coverage designed specifically for you or your business, representing some of the finest companies the world of insurance has to offer. The Insurance Center, always keeping that friendly and personal touch.
Every week on Golf Talk Live, you have the opportunity to email a question to our guest. The question for Nick Faldo tonight is, are you and Greg taking group lessons with Ledbetter? No. I'm hearing great things about the Faldo Golf Institute by Marriott. Please tell us all about it. From William Allen in Columbus, Ohio.
Well, yes, we're excited about this. I've joined Marriott, and part of their golf program, we now have the Faldo Golf Institute, and we've started here in Orlando, and we've built ourselves a wonderful, we've got the best range I've ever seen. We've got about a 30-acre range. We've got tees everywhere. We've got chipping, even got a chipping tee, which has got the Christmas tree effect with all these targets. What you're looking at now, we've got about a 2-acre putting course, which has got, as you can see, it's got waterfalls and bunkers, and great for the kids. The idea is we bring in, you know, because it's part of the vacation club we Marriott, we're bringing hopefully brand new golfers, and great for the parents who've got children who are not interested in golf. Just go down on a putting green. Parents say, they're safe, and they can blast it around there for as much as to their heart's content. But if they get serious, we've got a wonderful range out there. We've got, as I said, 30 acres. We've got a little 9-hole golf course, which is all really for teaching and what have you. It starts off lovely and easy, and it sort of progressively gets harder as you go around. So for first go with them, we're all very excited about it, and hopefully we get the formula right. We've already got a site in Europe. We're going to do all the same again and bigger and better. And then hopefully more in America. So it's very exciting times.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's go ahead and talk to Eddie in Florida who wants to ask you a question. Hello, Eddie.
Hello, Peter. Hello, Nick.
Hi there.
I have two questions, actually. As everyone knows, you have a great caddy, and you've had great success with the caddy you have. I'd like to know what it takes to make a great caddy, and how does one get into caddying?
How does one get in? Well, I think, well, Fanny just came out on tour middle of the 80s, and you start off, you know, with a guy, an unnamed pro, and you get into it, and obviously she worked well, and she worked her way up. I think she had Gordon Brown Jr. and then Howard Clark, and then I offered her the job in Australia at the end of 1989, and we started in 1990. So you know, we've been together solid, and you know, she's a great girl, very hard-working, very dedicated, enjoys it out there. I mean, it's a tough life for them. You know, they're on the road a hell of a lot of traveling. But you know, she's a good old stick. She works very hard, and I give her a hard time here and there, and because she's a workaholic. I've got to tell you this one little. She's an absolute workaholic, and Fanny's famous for, well, you know, wherever we're going, and, you know, what time I'm going to play 9 o'clock. Well, she thinks, well, it gets light at 4:30. I could be out at 4:30. I can wheel 9 holes, all this sort of thing. And so we were flying to Turnberry to play a couple of practice rounds before the Open. And we're on a little ditty plane, and she said, what time do you want to start tomorrow? And I said, oh, usual, 9 o'clock. She said, oh, great, I can go do 9. She said, does it come back to the clubhouse at 9th? And so I couldn't look her in the face, obviously, you know, the lighthouse. I'm visualizing the lighthouse. So I couldn't look at her, and I said, yeah, that's a good idea, of course it does, yeah, you know, see. So sure enough, there she goes, off she goes, dooby-dooby-doo, hoppy-hoppy-hop, wheeling this wheeler out, you know, at 6 o'clock in the morning, wheeling away, and she's got her earphones on, and because she's not paying attention, all of a sudden she gets out to the 9th, and she's looking around because it's one greenkeeper, and she's going, hello, hey, I'm from Sweden, you know, is this the dive, where's the clubhouse? And he says, it's up there on the hill, lassie. And she thinks, oh, geez, so she wheels it back, and it was like 1,742 yards from that tee back to the clubhouse, and she arrived in the hotel, and because I'm sitting there having breakfast, and I've got my orange juice, and I've just had my kippers and everything, she walks in, she's just soaking wet with perspiration. She looks at me and goes, you bastard, you see.
Well, you sent her to the North Sea.
Huh?
You sent her to the entrance to the North Sea.
Perfect. I mean, so that's a good example of her workaholism.
Why don't we take a look at your work as a caddy workaholic?
Yeah.
Let's take a look at that.
I haven't even seen this.
There's Mr. Faldo there in the wig.
But whose wig was it?
He's changing each hole. That's okay.
And that was, of course, on the Saturday, the rain out last year at the AT&T. And Huey Lewis, of course, has been looking for you, wants you to caddy for him.
That's right. He does definitely want me to caddy.
He's got a 9-hole member guest tomorrow. He's looking for you. As we go to break, let's go ahead and take a look at the 800 number so that you can work your way to the Faldo Golf Institute by Marriott in Orlando, Florida. 1-888-GO-FALDO or 1-407-238-7677. We'll be right back.
I blame my father's death on the thin rope, my grandfather's too. In a tightrope walking, wider rope is more stable. The crowds, though, they want thin. But I tell you, wider is better.
Introducing the new Wide Track Grand Prix. Its wheels are set wide for better balance, tighter grip.
I tell you from experience, più largo e meglio.
The new Wide Track Grand Prix from Pontiac. Wider is better.
I think it's fantastic. Well, I was like everybody else. I mean, I said, how are you supposed to hold on to that thing? I tell you, once I started using it, and I wear a glove on my left hand, I have absolutely no problem holding on to the grip. The palmer grip is extreme, it's lighter. You still have a lot of weight, a lot of meat in the club head. So that's where you want it. That hits the ball. I think this is something that everybody can use.
My happiness isn't just going to be based on my success, because success is so fleeting.
conditioning, that's what's needed at the 12 Bridges Golf Course in Lincoln, California. Can the tour's best break through the rough and rise to meet the challenge? The Longs Drugs Challenge.
Live tomorrow, 3:30 p.m.
The game's changed. Remember when Arnie, Casper, and those guys stormed across the country?
Sure did.
That was golf, down and dirty. None of this stadium course stuff. I mean, people had to scratch and claw just to get a glimpse. And how about when Lee Trevino got struck by lightning? Now, there's a golfer. My father used to say, if you can't deal with the elements, go play tennis. I'm telling you, those guys carried the game on their backs. Take Tony Jacklin sneaking in and winning the U.S. Open for the Brits. My guts. I'm telling you, those were the days.
Tonight, the Golf Channel's primetime lineup features more Nick Faldo on Masters highlights from 1989. Tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern on the Golf Channel.
Tell me about meeting Ben Hogan. When was it, and what was the chat about?
Well, it was gosh, it was amazing. I was on our way to a Genesis concert in London with my manager, John Simpson, and he said, I'm going to blow you away. He said, why? He said, well, if you'd like to go and have a chat with Ben Hogan, he'd like to have a chat with you. So I said, well, why are we going that way? The airport's that way, sort of thing. And we were able to organise it very quickly. I played in that Grand Slam in '92, and so we whizzed down straight after that to visit him. And, you know, to have an audience with some, you know, a very mystique figure in golf was something special, and I guess I did get a sense of what, you know, when people say, when they meet me or other famous people, you know, what it's like. I mean, I was up at 4 in the morning. I got 3 pages of notepads. I got it out, written all these questions, and I thought, you know, and sat down in front of him and, you know, started reeling off a few of them, and and it was a lot warmer and a lot softer than he was 20 years ago. They're saying, you know, he obviously never granted an audience 20 years ago, and so, but it was fascinating, and I managed to get on with him, and I sat next to him at lunch, went to Shady Oaks, isn't it, and sat at his famous round table, sat next to him. We had lunch, and I went out and hit some balls at, you know, all his famous spots where he used to do his pitching from and all this sort of thing. Yeah. It was all put together by a chap called Jody Becker.
I'm going to have to stop you because they're telling us our time is up.
You're joking.
Which means you'll have to come back and see us. Thanks for being here.
You don't want to hear about Ben Hogan? Well, it keeps it a secret then, anyway, doesn't it?
He kept the secret, and now you're going to have to keep the secret.
I was going to tell you live on the
We'll
Golf
see you
Channel.
Monday night on Golf Talk Live. Good night, everybody.